I believe that God is unexplainable. It is a concept.
Life happens when the camera is not rolling.
What is God? For me, is my idea of consciousness. God is not a thing, something you can necessarily see. It is within everything and outside of everything. So I believe that God, the absolute, whatever you want to call it, the self, is unchanging, is therefore pretty much everything I'm seeing has an element of God, but you couldn't call it God because everything changes. You, me, where we're sitting, this river, this planet has a life cycle, birth, death. But my feeling about God is that it exists beyond that, beyond those laws of nature. It was somehow, it is somehow separate to the laws of time, matter, space. And that's about as close as I've come to any realization of what God is. God is unexplainable. It is a concept that you can't put into words. But I meditate. I was introduced to meditation about 15 years ago, and I meditate twice a day. And if I ever feel close to knowing what God is, it's somewhere in the boundary of that half-hour period, twice a day when I meditate. I think the basic idea of the meditation I do is to quiet the mind, to just let all that instrument calm down. And I sometimes have the experiences where I feel a little out of body, a little time. Ideas of Hugh Jackman as a father, as an actor, all those roles we play just seem to melt away. And somewhere in there is where I have some glimmer, some glimpse at what God is. And it's a feeling, and it's blissful, and it can go like that, and every minute you try and grab onto it, it's gone. We're householders, right? You're a householder, I'm a householder. We're not people who are born to sit up on the top of a mountain and meditate. Some are, and they're incredibly powerful what they do. But you and I, basically, we have a job and we earn money to look after a family or whatever, community we give to society in whichever way we can and contribute. It's what in Indian or Vedic terms they call the way of the householder. But twice a day, even as a householder, twice a day for half an hour, I can dip into what I call that gold, that the substance of what is God, and just bathe in it. It's a different experience every time, but I get glimpses of something that energizes me on such a deep level that I'm not sure exactly what I'd do without that form of prayer. It's a way to be in touch with who I really am.
I would never be able to get away with that long story at any televised event. I see them in the control room. Really? He's talking about his agent? No. Cut. Play the music. And I'll never forget this. He said to me, he goes, no amount of success is ever worth that moment where 5, 10, 15 years from now, you walk into a room and across the room, other side of the room, is the guy who gave you your first job and you can't look him in the eye. And I said, I really want to do X-Men. On every level, it's a better role, it's a better everything. And he said, yeah, but you gave your word. And I said, yeah. And he said something else. He said, where you want to get to in life is never as important as the way you want to live your life. Patty, you'll remember this night as well as I do. He rang up the director. We were up till 3 o'clock in the morning. Deb and I were waiting by the phone. At 3 o'clock in the morning, Patty rang me and said, guess what? You're doing X-Men. He's recast it already. And he had happily moved on. But in that moment, and those 8 hours, I think, of negotiations, probably, that's when I knew not only is Patrick Whitesell a great agent, he's a great man. It's the luckiest thing of my career, and I would not be standing here and half the things I've done in my career would I have done if it wasn't for you, Patty. I love you, man. You know, you have taught me that life is actually never defined by the highlight reels, even though, by the way, I love the reels. Thank you so much. Whoever put those together, I was like, wow. Except for the Bo Derek scene. We could have missed that one today. But you really have taught me that life is not defined by those. Life actually happens in between that. Life happens when the camera is not rolling. You've believed in me when I couldn't. You've loved me with a passion and a depth that I didn't even know existed, and I don't think I even felt that I deserved. You have pushed and encouraged me when I was scared to venture out. You have smiled me into smiling. You have sung me into singing. You have loved me into loving. And like everything I do in my life, I share this with you. I love you. Thank you all.